All right. When you love your own theme music, give my camera a minute to catch up with me. I moved it, so it might not like it, but I'm over here. I'm over here. I'm over here. I got a good show planned. It might be the lighting. Hold on. Might be the lighting. Might be the lighting. Like too much light. I'm not a lighting person. Not one of my claims to fame. Ha ha. Okay, let's see if it finds me. Let me turn this down. Move that out the way. All right, let's see if it finds me. Give it a second. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, third podcast of the day. The endurance is kicking in. The endurance is kicking in, muscle memory, because we did this last season. Or should I say last off season? All right, are you gonna find me or not? Last off season. Yay, there we go. There we go. We in here, we in here, we in here. All right. Shout out to y'all. Live shows, you never know what you're gonna get. Let's get it. All right. So tonight we have some breaking news, we have some shocking news, and we have some interesting news. So let's get right on into it. All right. After my last live stream, after one live stream in between the Dubai report, go watch it. It's really good. Breaking news came out that the NCAA is submitted like a 658-page document asking the Mississippi State Court to reverse the injunction, which allowed Trinidad Shamblers to go back to Ole Miss and play ball. Reversing the injunction means they're trying to block, the NCAA is trying to block Trinidad Shamblers from playing football in college because of a sixth year, even though they've given out 7 years, 8 years, and possibly, I think I heard 9th years. Even though they had a player come back from pro basketball back to college, which is not supposed to happen. And I asked the question, why the hell is the NCAA trying with all of its might to target one kid? And we talked about this, right? And y'all know my theory. My theory is they don't want him to win the Heisman. Why don't they want him to win the Heisman? Because they want to give it to the main kid, because effectively they already have. What you see on your screen is an animation that was made on X, and I'm sharing it from there. It shows the lawyers for the NCAA who rudely got up and walked out of court in the last court hearing before the verdict came down because they knew they were going to lose. So they got up in their feelings and they left. Now they're going to put together 658 pages asking a judge to reverse it and block this kid, saying that if a judge doesn't reverse the injunction, kicking Trinidad out of college, technically, college football, that it will be irreparable harm to the NCAA. I'm like, time out. You trying to kill this kid's college football career after the damn NFL combine is over, 2-3 days after the NFL combine is over. And you talking about irreparable harm to the NCAA, but you trying to ruin his pro career too? Why can't this kid play ball? Let me tell you why. Because Ole Miss is a favorite to win it all. Ole Miss is a favorite to win it all this year because of Trinidad Shamblers. So they know this. And because there's an agenda happening, not just so that Ole Miss will lose, it's so Trinidad won't win. Why? Because how you gonna not draft him before you draft Arch Manning? It's the Shedeur Sanders all over again. If you find a post on YouTube in the community that I posted a couple of hours ago before I went to give you some pizza, I said the NCAA is trying to block Trinidad Shedeur Sanders Shamblers. Shedeur Sanders Shamblers. Why did I make his middle name Shedeur Sanders? Because they are blocking him from coming out in the top spot, just like Shedeur. It's the same thing. And what they're doing is exposing themselves by targeting Trinidad Shamblers. They're exposing themselves because they targeted this young man right here. How many times have you seen me refer to this list right here? When Shedeur Sanders hit #1 overall, the smear campaign went crazy. Why? So he wasn't on the Heisman stage. So he didn't win the Heisman. So they were chipping away the entire time at Colorado to keep him from coming out of college, #1 overall, because they knew he was the best. And what you are seeing right now is the same campaign carried out in a different manner for the same reason, to keep Trinidad Shamblin from being the best quarterback, the story of the 2027 draft, because the man and kid decided to stay in school and he coming out in 2027. Why they not worried about Dante Moore? Because he over there with Dan Lanning. So you already know. I hope he enjoy the money. Shout out to Dante Moore, but you need to keep your head on the swivel, bro. Why they not worried about Darian Mensah? Because they already got him ranked near the bottom of all the quarterbacks coming out next year, even though he led the ACC and he one of the best, and he switched over to Miami, who just went to the Natty. So 2 of the best quarterbacks that they had that was expected to, who went back to school, Trinidad, Dante Moore, and Darian Mensah, they kicked Dante Moore off the list altogether. I shared this list with y'all. This list came out 2 days before Trinidad's court date. And I said this was intentional. Whoever put this list out had some information that they just knew Trinidad would not win in court. Hence the nasty attitude by the NCAA, and walked out before the verdict came in Trinidad's favor. He got the injunction. Is he on this list? No. Who's at the top? Just look a little closer. The Manning kid. Manning has done absolutely nothing to be at the top of this list. And if he's really like a Joe Burrow, a good person like I think he is, this makes him highly uncomfortable, because there are people using him like a pawn to get their agenda out to suppress these black quarterbacks. I told y'all last year, they're going to get you, if you're a black quarterback coming out of college, pre-draft, in the draft, or when you get to your team. Now we're seeing the pre-draft. Now we're seeing the college part. We saw the pre-draft with Shedeur. We didn't know. See, we didn't know we were looking at the pre-draft smear campaign with Shedeur Sanders back in October, November, December. But see, Trinidad's case lets you see, oh, so y'all was targeting Shedeur too like that. That makes sense now. Now it makes sense why y'all was coming for Shedeur so hard, because he was the best story coming out last year. Trinidad's the best story coming out this year, 2027. The NFL is already finished with their combine process. 2 to 3 days after that, here come the NCAA wanting to go back to Mississippi State Court in retaliation against Trinidad to get him kicked out of college when he in a limbo. It's too late for him to go to the league. And I guess the message is you should have declared for the league like we wanted you to. So let's see what happens, because people believe that the evidence is in favor of Trinidad and that the Mississippi State Court is where Ole Miss is, in Mississippi. Hint, hint. Who up there? Right? And so between those 2 things, the evidence lies in Trinidad's favor. There's precedence here and extraneous factors, right? The NCAA should not win this injunction. But why would they put together a 658-page document to keep a kid from going to school for 1 more year? Because see, this list that does not include Trinidad, that includes Dante Moore at the 2, because it's controllable by Dan Lanning at Oregon. Because remember Dillon, right? Definitely controllable, right? Arch Manny's at the 1. So this is 2 days before. Then after Trinidad wins his injunction, this list comes out, and I shared it with y'all. This list right here that have our juju on it. We're going to talk about that. That's the interesting news. Trinidad is the shocking news. No, Trinidad is the breaking news. Shedeur Sanders is the shocking news. And Juju is the interesting news. So stay tuned. Remember, I follow quarterbacks. I follow football, period. But I hone in on the quarterbacks. The black quarterbacks for sure. All right. So as you can see, when Trinidad won his case, this list was updated. And Marcel Reed climbs to the top. He wasn't on the other list, was he? Marcel Reed is black. And he could have come out of college this year, but he was smart enough to go back. Shout out to Marcel Reed. Then we have Arch Manning was at the 2. So they thought, oh, well, since Trinidad has to be included, let me put a black person up here at the top. That's not Trinidad, which is crazy because Trinidad is favored to win the Heisman. Him and Arch Manning. Again, I don't know why Arch Manning is on this list, right? Then we have Julian Lewis. Our Juju is at the 3. And I said this is a ploy to shut us up, number 1, but 2, it sends a message to Juju. And this is where it gets interesting because I'm going to tell you something I've observed. And I've been observing it, and now I'm ready to talk about it. Juju is a freshman. He not going to go nowhere. So him being at the number 3 is purely a message. Letting Juju know you could go to school somewhere else. We got you. That's what this is. This is letting this kid know you are very valuable. We see you as valuable. It's supposed to make him think like they think these players do. Oh, I can hop in the portal and lead Coach Prime's program. That's what it is. And I'm going to tell you why it's interesting. I'm going to tell you about the narrative I saw on X today. And then we have, after Juju, Trinidad Shamblers. Now, Trinidad just went to the semis for the Natty. How the hell is, no disrespect, because that's my guy, right? How the hell is Trinidad after Juju and Arch Manning and Marcel Reed? Juju and Marcel are black. So I got 2 black people up here and Arch Manning squeezed up in the middle so people don't notice. It's him we trying to keep at the top. They won't be mad if they see 2 other black people at the top. That's what this is. Using Juju in front of Trinidad. Really? See how they pit them together? That's the shocking news that we're going to talk about with Shedeur. Now, you know goddamn well. You know goddamn well Trinidad just went to the semifinals. So you want to start a war between people who like Trinidad and Juju, which is me, in the same. I'm not going to argue with myself. Juju not coming out of school. There's no point in having a conversation. There's no point in me having a conversation arguing about Juju and Trinidad when, first of all, Juju is nowhere near leaving college. He just got there, and he got there early. Marcel Reed, I don't think Marcel Reed went any further. I don't even know if he made it to the 12. He made it to the 12-team playoff, I think. So if I have to think that hard about it, no. This is so they can say, well, we put some black people at the top. So when Trinidad wins his case, he gets added to the list, but look where they put him at. They got Nico way down here at the 9. I'm shocked they remember who the hell he was after they left Tennessee, but they knew because they fired his coach when he got over there to UCLA. That's coincidence. That's disruption. Who else disrupted a college program this year? What college program was disrupted this year based on one of the quarterbacks that we talking about? Well, let's see. Colorado, where Juju is. And Trinidad Shamblers, because his coach got up and left during the middle of the goddamn season. And that was supposed to disrupt and prevent Ole Miss from going to the playoffs, but it didn't. And not only didn't it, they made it to the semifinals. And some people say they got cheated, but I didn't entertain that. So here comes Trinidad to come back and do it again. And then over at Colorado, Pat Schumer is gone. So we should be good at Ole Miss, and we should be good with Juju as the starter, right? Trinidad the starter at Ole Miss, and Juju the starter at Colorado, right? Right. You see how you had to think about that? So this is why, in my honest opinion, the NCAA is attacking the hell out of Trinidad Shamblers, trying to kick this kid out of school so he does not become the story. And they are so desperate that they put together a document that likely is supposed to be seen as intimidating, that it's supposed to send the message that they have a lot of evidence as to why this would hurt the NCAA. The NCAA clearly don't give a damn about these athletes because you are trying to take down one of your own athletes for who? somebody that's going to the NFL, or is it on behalf of the NFL? Are they in the shadows behind this? Do not think for 1 second that the NCAA was solely responsible in the Heisman Committee for kicking Shedeur off the Heisman stage. Don't ever think that. Don't ever think the NCAA and Alabama football was solely responsible for holding back Jalen Milroe behind Ole Miss quarterback at the time, Jackson Dart, who was drafted ahead of Shedeur and should not have been, because they said he was going to sneak into the first round. And I said, if he got a sneak, he not clearly good enough. So why is he sneaking? So Jackson Dart was used to pin down and push down Jalen Milroe in Alabama and SEC, where Ole Miss is. Jackson Dart was used to push and devalue Shedeur Sanders down in the draft because he snuck into the first round and went to the New York Giants, who was the only team on record to defame and slander and lie and collude against Shedeur Sanders. So you see how even when you go to an SEC school, if you're a black quarterback, they're going to do you dirty. And then when you get to the league, coming from a different school in a different division, such as Shedeur, they did him dirty for an SEC quarterback that was white. And now, and I said, I want to see what's going to happen. Since last year, Ole Miss had 2 black quarterbacks. So I knew when Lane Kiffin left, it was to disrupt those 2 black quarterbacks. And one of the 2, Austin, is now the quarterback at Missouri. And Trinidad Shambliss is being put through the ringer, and they trying to kick him out of college football so he can't take his team all the way to the natty. So in effect, we have a group of people that you can't see behind the scenes that are some shadowy figures that are trying to disrupt the careers of black elite quarterbacks that can win in their rookie seasons in a pro league. So who do you think is involved? If they leave in college, why the hell would it be the NCAA who's solely interested? See, they get ready to go pro. So who do you think it is in the shadows that's trying to affect where they land when they go pro by smearing them and pushing them down in college? You see where I'm going with this? So watching what's happening to Trinidad Shambliss shows you what they're capable of, and it explains to you that the smear campaign happens at the highest level in college football to hold back these elite black quarterbacks, Trinidad Shambliss, Jalen Milroe, Shedeur Sanders. Remember, they barely talked about Cam Ward, right? But they put him in front of Shedeur too. So what that tells you is, when you work as hard as you can and you make it to the most important position on the team in college football, which is the quarterback, and it's time for you to declare for the draft and come out of college, they're going to devalue you or smear your career so that when you get to the other side, you're not first round top 3, or you're not first round at all. And to support what I'm saying, why the NFL had Trinidad Shambliss projected as a day 3 quarterback. Shedeur Sanders was drafted on day 3. So now you should see who's involved in derailing the college careers of these quarterbacks who are getting ready to go pro. The pros. Yeah. Think about it. If it's happening over there, if it's happening before you get there, after you finish your college career in the pre-draft stage, if they devaluing them in the pros before they even leave college, then somebody on the NCAA side is doing the heavy lifting before the season, their last season starts, or in the midst of their season, or when it's time for the Heisman. They practically came out and gave Arch Manning the Heisman. And then when Trinidad got the injunction to come back to school, he became the favorite. That's why they want him gone. This is about one kid. This is not that kid's agenda per se, but just like they used Dylan as a pawn against Shedeur to hold him back, they using Arch Manning. They're acting like he's entitled to the Heisman because of his last name. They're acting like he's entitled to come out first overall and go to the Browns, and everybody need to move the hell out the way as if this kid has some kind of superpowers, and he's not even like that. Is it his last name or because he's white or both? Nobody, fans, we don't give a damn about his last name. We don't even give a damn that he's white. We give a damn that they are trying to destroy and derail the careers of these black quarterbacks who have earned their spots, to give it to someone who has not, in our faces. That's what we care about. You're not going to play in our face like that. For years, you've been doing this shit behind closed doors. Now you want to do it in everybody's face. Okay, it's going to cost you because you're exposing yourself. Because the sham job being done, the targeting being done by the NCAA should make you now ask about the targeting being done against Shedeur Sanders by the referees who work for the NCAA. It should let you see that they're working together to devalue these black quarterbacks, which means Keelan Russell, a 5-star, when he went to Alabama, he was supposed to be in the running to be like their starter, our Juju. Instead, he threw an interception in practice, and they put him behind Ty Simpson, who was a backup. Ty Simpson's name came up today in the Browns. So let's segue over to the Browns. Since you now understand about the smear campaign and derailing in college of black quarterbacks as they get ready to make their entry to the pros, and you know what happened to Shedeur pre-draft, the smear campaign in college, year 1, year 2, the cheating by the refs, to be set up by his own O-line, it should sound familiar. It should sound like the Cleveland Browns. In fact, it does, doesn't it? So Ty Simpson went to Alabama and was put in front of Keelan Russell because Keelan threw one interception. So they took a 5-star and instantly devalued him because he's black. That's not the first one. I told you about a 5-star kid who played for Oregon, and Dan Lanning devalued him. And now he's a tight end at Tulane. That's 2. Keelan Russell and Ty Thompson from Oregon. Who's number 3 on that list? Juju. We're going to get to the interesting. You see how they beckoning for him by putting him at 3rd? We're going to talk about why it's interesting. All right. So Ty Simpson's name came up today in Cleveland because as the Browns shockingly put it out there to their insiders, Mel Kiper Jr. as well as Mary Cabot, one on the national level, one on the local level. We talked about this earlier. That the Browns were pivoting away from getting another quarterback in free agency, getting another quarterback in the draft. They're going to go with the quarterbacks they have on the roster, and there'll be a competition between Shedeur and Deshaun. And there was no mention of Dylan. One person mentioned all the quarterbacks on the rosters, including Dylan. And Mary Cabot said the competition will be between Deshaun and Shedeur. There's a lot of pushback on that competition because Shedeur already competed against Dylan. Hence the rumor that Dylan will be traded. And now we have a little bit more information on where Dylan is supposed to be traded. People already talked about the Falcons. So here it is. The Browns are expected to receive a 2026 4th round pick, number 114, similar to 144, but 114. And then Dylan the Falcons would get a 5th round pick. So Dillon will be sent with a 5th round pick over there with Kevin Stefanski, who brought him in the first place. So it's given you brought him in 3rd round, you take him, but he's being devalued to a 5th round. So now Dillon is being put in Shedeur's place as a 5th round developmental talent with 3rd round money, because those contracts last 4 years. Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, we know the Browns love the 5th round pick, so it makes sense that he will be sent with a 5th round pick. But when they sent Flacco to the Bengals, they sent him away as a 6th round pick, which meant they was pissed with him. So while they didn't torch Dillon, he is devalued being sent with a 5th round pick, but he got 3rd round money. So it's a possibility he knew it will be done this way, and he wouldn't complain because he got the money and he gets to leave Cleveland and go with Stefanski. And he just gonna play his role from here on out. And then the Browns would get a 4th round pick that they would use on Ty Simpson. That's why you hear the conversation that they aren't going to get anybody in the draft per se. They're not looking at anybody 1st round, 2nd round. Dillon's going away, so no 3rd round. Dillon's leaving out the door with a typical 5th round pick. They're getting a 4th back. So they're getting a pick higher than what they're sending. So they're getting a 5th round, a 4th round pick. And they already said Ty Simpson could be a late round pick. So there's the 4th round pick. It's definitely going to be before Shedeur. Why would it make sense based on how the Browns maneuver that Ty Simpson is a 4th round pick and not a 5th round pick? So they can put him justified. Oh, he's better than Shedeur. Yeah, that's what this is about. So this is a rumor, not saying that this is going to happen. This is what's being talked about. Y'all already heard the rumor that Dillon was likely going to Atlanta. This is what it would look like. And this is what they would get back. And Ty Simpson is what they would do with it. Now let's talk about why Ty Simpson works for the Browns and not Carson Beck and not Shedeur and not Deshaun. Okay. You heard me say what? Everything is being done to part the Red Sea for Arch Manning, who's listed as number 1, including pushing down Trinidad Shambliss, right? And since Shedeur came out at 25 and the Manning kid was expected to come out at 26, just like you see Trinidad being pushed down, this is precisely why the Browns targeted Shedeur ahead of his exit from college to come over to them, even though they didn't have $40 million to give him. They were never interested in him seriously, so they toyed around with him and they cut bait, which is illegal in business. It's illegal to do a bait and switch in business. And they did all of this to be cruel, to humiliate him, and to capture him, and to devalue him. Just like they try to do Trinidad Shambliss. So look at Trinidad Shambliss and how hard they're coming for him. And now you know what happened to Shedeur with the referees. Now you know what happened to Shedeur with the O-line. Now you know what happened to Shedeur in the pre-draft. And now, because of Arch Manning, you know why. Because he was expected to come out, and they knew it when they were luring Shedeur to Cleveland and toying around with him. So it was cruelty, and it was premeditated. Trinidad's case exposes the lengths that certain people go through when these kids are just now coming out of college to the pros, to be devalued before they even get before they even leave school. What would happen if Trinidad won the Heisman? It would be hard for him not to be number one overall. That's why Shedeur wasn't on the Heisman stage. And who was in front of Shedeur? Dylan. Where was Dylan sent to as a third-round pick before Shedeur? How can Dylan be on the Heisman stage with Ashton Jeanty, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and Cam Ward, who are all first-round projected picks, and he was a third-round pick? And before that, he was an undrafted free agent. Explain it, Dan Lanning. Dylan had no business on the Heisman stage other than to block Shedeur, and it worked. And nobody asked any questions until now. Then Dylan came to Cleveland, and it looks like it was random that Dylan was there to block Shedeur when it was actually based on the evidence available, premeditated. So not only did they toy with Shedeur, pretend they were going to draft him for $40 million at number 2 overall, and it was just a bait and switch. They intended to be cruel and to emotionally embarrass him. I guess they were trying to put him in his place. But they planned all of this before he left Colorado, before the Heisman ceremony. This is exactly when it was planned. When Shedeur hit number 1 in college. And to support what I'm saying, after the Vegas Super Bowl in 2024, since they knew the 2025 season, the Vegas Super Bowl, they knew in the 2025 draft that likely would be the year that 17 black quarterbacks emerged, because after the Vegas Super Bowl, the Browns ownership was introduced Russianly to Charles Woodson. Hey, you still interested? Because he wanted to buy a team. Hey, you in Vegas? I want you to meet the Haslams. So they rushed him over to meet the Haslams in 24, but they didn't make him an owner until 25, because that was a card that they had set aside to use. We're not racist. Look, we have a black limited partner, Charles Woodson, who played the same position as Coach Prime. Why they didn't ask Coach Prime to be a limited partner? You see how the cruelty works? See how the in your face works? Have you seen Charles Woodson? Could he do anything to stop the abuse that was happening, the sabotage that was happening? No. He was just a pawn so they would not appear racist. When in actuality, racism was the motivating factor for devaluing Shedeur at Colorado. Racism is the motivating factor for trying to destroy and upend Coach Prime's career at Colorado. And you know this because Shedeur left and they still try to take down the program. And how did they try to take down the program? By manipulating who the quarterback was. If you notice, Pat Schumer felt like Ryan Staub was cerebral, which is code for the thinking man. Not Juju and not Kaden Salter. So Kaden Salter's career was disrupted because he was number 15 overall coming into the season to come to the NFL. And that's probably not the case, thanks to the OC from Colorado. And the OC from Colorado did just like Alabama did to Keelan Russell, and took a 5-star in Julian Lewis and made him a third string behind who? Ryan Staub, that just got into Tennessee in an SEC school. Now, how do you go from being a total bomb to Tennessee in the SEC? And Juju's listed at number 3. So these kids are targets while they're still at school. And it's only happening because they're elite and because they're black. That's it. And it's still happening when they get to their respective teams. That's what Shedeur's journey shows us. So when you look at Trinidad, when you look at Shedeur, and you look at Julian Lewis, who's a 5-star, Julian's journey tells you what some coaches do to Black 5-stars. Put them in the back. Ty Thompson, Julian Lewis, and Keelan Russell. That's 3. Trinidad Shamlin's journey shows you what they did to these Black quarterbacks like Jalen Milroe and Shedeur Sanders coming out of college. Why Jalen Milroe? Because he was top 4. They get devalued in the mighty SEC at Alabama behind Jackson Dart from Ole Miss because he's white. Now Trinidad Shamblin is being destroyed. The Ole Miss program was being disrupted. And I noticed when Lane Kiffin left, they tried to destroy that program. And last week on X, when they announced that they were taking a defensive pass coordinator coach away, I said on X, why are y'all constantly trying to destroy this goddamn program at Ole Miss because you're trying to ruin the quarterback? You know what somebody said to me? And this told me exactly how little they knew. How the hell would the defensive coordinator leaving up in the Ole Miss program if he just got there? Disruption. You just said it. He just got there. So let me guess. The head coach left. Then there was all this nastiness about stealing players, right? Then you're going to get some more coaches. Then you get another head coach. You elevate another head coach. They make it to the playoffs. Trinidad is at war fighting for his career with NCAA. His dynamic duo partner is being offered all kind of money to leave. His dynamic duo partner decides to stay. So if the injunction is lifted and Trinidad can't go back to school, they have not screwed over just Trinidad. They have screwed over Lacey, his partner, and his Travis Hunter, and they have screwed over the entire Ole Miss program like they tried to do when Lane Kiffin left, because Ole Miss is expected to win it all because of Trinidad. So if you remove the head, you kill the body. And people can't see that. So all sorts of kind of disruption, leaving these college teams are pretty much set. But at the end, you're still poaching. The same thing is happening at Colorado. Lewis should have been gone. Or Livingston should have been gone. Why he to the end to go right there to Denver? Because they disrupted the program. Why did they take Pecco late? Because they disrupted the program. If they had respect for the program, they would not disrupt it. How many Georgia coaches left late? None. How many Alabama coaches? How many Oregon coaches? Both. So you got to look at college football holistically. Like you got to look at the NFL and you got to look at these quarterbacks. Ty Simpson works for the Browns because he's not good. And y'all like, well, why the hell would they get him? That only helps out Shedeur. If he healthy and he could play. It's not like he's going to play the majority of the games and be healthy. If he finished the season playing all them damn games from 1 to 18 and they let him be healthy after they try to rip off his nail so Dillon could play, understand, that's the script. They'll carve up them games to make sure Deshaun nor Shedeur or any Black quarterback is on the record playing the majority of the games as QB1. That ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen. If it does, they must be being extorted. Or we found one of them robbed Shedeur, or there's a $1 billion lawsuit sitting on Haslam's desk, because that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. There are no new scripts here. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. The sabotage is a script. And we talked about it earlier. Did I know that the NCAA was going to put together a 658-page document to try to screw over Trinidad Ole Miss and Lacey in retaliation and revenge and to destroy so they don't win it all? Nope. And it fits right on in with what we're talking about. Ty Simpson is good for the Browns because he won't show up Arch Manning. Carson Beck would. That's why they don't talk about him. But he could pop up over there, and that would mean they could control him. Shedeur playing 18 games and putting up 393 yards for 18 weeks in a row would make it very difficult for the Browns to draft the Manning kid #1 overall next year because he was given the Heisman. Now, if he earned it, that's one thing. But they gave it to him before he earned it. So they don't care if he earns it. They don't care if he's good or not. They don't care. Their little experiment last year worked. They held down the best quarterback in college and with the number 8th ranked Tyler Shaw and Jackson Dart. The Manning kid falls somewhere between those two in terms of skill set. So if they can get those two in before Shedeur, then guess what they could do next year? And you would think, well, damn, I'll just do what we did to Shedeur to Trinidad. Why don't they do that? They don't even want their kid in college. They just want him gone from football. And because of the timing, he ain't gonna be in the pros either. So they like, well, we got that conquered because he's not in the pros. And they know they're gonna devalue him next year because he's gonna be out for a whole year. That's another sword in that kid's career. And this is all happening because he's black. If he was white, this wouldn't be happening. This would not be happening. That's the disgusting part of it. Ty Simpson would not show up Arch Manning. There would be nothing. Ty Simpson would get out there and play 18 games, and they still gonna draft the Manning kid next year. Because he not Shedeur. Hell, he ain't even Deshaun. But he better than Dylan. He better than Dylan. So basically, if they get Ty Simpson, they giving Shedeur a run for his money with a little better Dylan. And they're going to send Dylan with his maker, the one who brought him over here. Otherwise, I don't know where he's going. So it even says it right here. It says, Browns Nation, Zach Jackson of The Athletic says, Shedeur Sanders may currently sit at #1. Now, it's a lot of things out here saying that because they pivoted towards Shedeur, they're going to keep Shedeur and Deshaun. People are saying he's QB1. It said he might be sitting at #1 on the depth chart. Now, we got to look at that. I haven't looked it up yet. If y'all look it up, let me know if they changed it. But his hold on the job is far from secure. So in this respect, Zach is basically saying the job is seemingly Shedeur Sanders to lose because he's still #1 on the depth chart. Because when it ended the season, he was sitting at the 1. So technically, it's his job to lose. Now, the Browns have not committed to Shedeur. The owner hasn't, the GM hasn't, and neither has the new head coach. But based on who finished the season, Shedeur is QB1, and the job to compete is his to lose. And I have maintained it's disrespectful and discriminatory to make Shedeur keep competing to keep his #1 spot. That's ridiculous. That's not even how the NFL works. If it worked like that, fine, but it doesn't. And you want to change the rules player by player, team by team, because it's certain people you want to eliminate. So in this respect, I agree. I don't think it's his job to lose. Shedeur is QB1. The Browns need to figure some shit out. If you want to get the Manning kid next year, you better figure out how the hell to win with Shedeur this year and send him as a franchise QB somewhere else next year so you can get who it is you want to put all your eggs in their basket. And when he gone, we gone. And I don't give a damn what happened after that. But you do not have the right, like in the draft, to devalue this young man because you want to elevate somebody who hasn't earned it because he's white. That's being cruel all over again from the draft. And we not having it, bro. We not having it. And Monken should be coached enough to say, look, this is a leader. A leader would say, look, we can win this year, And it's a win-win for the fans. It's a win-win for the city. It's a win-win for everybody. We can win this year. And then if we want to get the Manning kid next year, fine. We just gotta give Shedeur to a team. Just get one of them teams and say, look, man, we want you to come play over here. Why you can't do that? Why do you have to destroy Shedeur because you want to wait on the Manning kid? That's evil. That's evil. And that seems to be the owner's plot. That seems to be the owner's plot. So Zach is saying, I think Shedeur Sanders is number one, but the least comfortable, safe number one could ever be. So, in other words, he's number one, but he's not safe. I need somebody to explain to me why he's not safe. Why does he have to compete again? And it's wrong. It's discriminatory to make a person keep proving themselves when you haven't said why they have to keep proving themselves. Nobody has explained why Shedeur has to compete. There has not been one explanation. Andrew Berry said they're looking for a leader. Well, your eyes are closed because if you don't see a leader in Shedeur, then you choose not to see a leader. So he's lying. And when they say they haven't solidified the quarterback, they need to, the Browns, be forced to explain why. Because Shedeur is the best quarterback they've had in decades. And that's not even up for debate. I've said it before. The Browns need to be forced to explain why they have a franchise QB they can win with, and they choose to self-eliminate from the playoffs with Kevin Stefanski as the head coach and the offensive coordinator with Tommy Rees. And the owner knew they could win more than 5 games because he said it. But he didn't fire Stefanski. They need to be forced to explain why they're sabotaging their own damn quarterback and their own damn team. That's what the Browns need to be forced to explain. They lucky he ain't suing. Or some other people. Because they've not only done this to Shedeur, they've done this to others. And believe it or not, Deshaun Watson still got a case against them. Because if they didn't give him $230 million for retaliation for asking for a trade, then they owe him some more money. And now they owe him money for negligence from having him sacked 33 times through 7 games and an insurance company to pay his damn salary instead of them. That's illegal too. That's fraud. So how desperate are they to hold back black quarterbacks that they're willing to risk a RICO? Criminality, fraud, sabotaging your own team, pissing off all your fans, all for the sake of holding back black quarterbacks. But you keep trapping like you fishing and you want to catch and hold and devalue, derail, abuse, and release. You think we can't see the pattern? It's plain as day now. And I told y'all that's what was going to happen this year. Again, it's happening a little sooner than I thought. So understand this. The hunt to kick Trinidad out of college because of Arch Manning, and the hunt by the Browns to abuse and suppress Shedeur Sanders for Arch Manning exposes who's working together. You are trying to destroy and derail the careers of 2 black quarterbacks, one still in college, one in Cleveland, for one kid at the University of Texas. Let that sink in for a minute. And if that's what you're capable of, what else have you done? At this point, they would be crazy to get the Manning kid because the truth just gonna come spilling out the closet, and people gonna tie it right back to what they doing to Trinidad Shamblers. And it's gonna catch the NFL and it's gonna catch the NCAA. And then we're gonna talk about Kyron Lacey and LSU. Uh-huh. Then we might talk about Isaiah Bond, Quinshon Junkins, Shedeur Sanders, and anybody else that was devalued and sent to the Browns. The pattern is there. It's the pattern of evil against black NFL players, black college NFL prospects like Kyron Lacey. If they targeted Trinidad Shamblers, then they target Kyron Lacey. Questions that need answers. So Zach is saying, I think Shedeur Sanders is number one, but the least comfortable, safe number one could ever be. Maybe on March 9th, the whole order changes. Maybe again on March 15th. That's free agency, I think. Maybe on April 25th. It said that's the draft. So free agency in the draft. It said maybe 3 times, maybe 3 more times in the summer, because you got rookie minicamp, you got the involuntary, you got the voluntary period, the involuntary period, training camp. That's what he's talking about. Because that's what the Browns do. So he's telling you the Browns thrive in instability. They weaponize instability. I said that before. They are just weaponizing instability against Shedeur to hold him back. Rotating 5 quarterbacks is instability in a season in 23. Rotating 4 or 5 quarterbacks in 2024 is instability. Having a competition that Shedeur won and rotating around Flacco and Pickett and Dillon and Bailey Zapp and Huntley and Deshaun and Shedeur is more of the same, weaponizing instability. None of you are the starters. But who got out? Dillon looked like seemingly he about to get his freedom papers. Pickett and Flacco were gone before anything significant happened in the season. Then it was just Shedeur and Dillon. And suddenly, Shedeur ended up playing more games than Dillon. It's given premeditated. We got him on a deep discount. There's an alternative use for the selection, likes and clicks, and we're not going to let you win nothing, which is why the Browns chose to self-eliminate from the playoff hunt with Shedeur, who took them there. It's a message we don't want to win with you, along with the message Haslam to Coach Prime. Let's just say that Shedeur has a good game, and like a switch, it went from a horrible game to a good game, back to we not winning this game. That was the Texans, the Titans game. That was the game they was eliminated from. Stefanski looked like he was relieved after they lost. So basically, Zach Jackson is saying the Browns, this is what they do. They just rotate through quarterbacks. I said it before. Are the Browns just a catch and release team? Meaning they're not serious about any of these quarterbacks. But do they abuse all of their quarterbacks? Do they discriminate against all their quarterbacks? And who gets out? Who gets out and gets traded? Huntley got cut. I heard Bailey Zapp got a contract and traded to another team. There's a rumor that Dillon will be traded. There's never been any sort of conversation about trading Shedeur and or Deshaun. So the black quarterbacks are stuck there. Because if they ask for a trade, they just got to look at Deshaun and see the outcome of that minus the $230 million. Because they probably ain't going to do that no more. Is that why Shedeur house was robbed? Because they figured he going to ask for a trade because they're going to make his life so difficult that they was looking for something to extort him on? Because if I keep hearing about Myles Garrett, these goddamn speeding tickets, and nobody else speeds in Cleveland, apparently, only Shedeur and Myles Garrett robbed. Only Shedeur and Myles Garrett speeding tickets. How many people are involved in setting up Shedeur and Myles Garrett? That should be the goddamn question. It's becoming painfully obvious that the only people that speed for the Browns are Shedeur and Myles Garrett. The only people robbed for the Browns, Shedeur and Myles Garrett, and the Browns don't have nothing to do with that. That's just coincidental. Absolutely not. There are no coincidences. It's all manufactured. And how many people have you involved in the setup of your players? Because we watch you sabotage your own quarterback. We watch you suppress Myles Garrett. We watch you retaliate against Denzel Ward. We watch you intimidate and coerce and secure participation from Jerry Jeudy. They are black. And we watch Blake Reichart smash Shedeur finger and try to rip it off so Dillon can come out there. So Shedeur don't win against the Bills. Just like Lamar gets cheated when they play the Bills. Same thing. Same thing. Why is it that Josh Allen has to win? Why? Against Shedeur, against Lamar. Tell me why. Why is it Josh Allen, Bills, get away and accommodations are made for the Bills to cheat? or defeat by cheating the Ravens and or the Browns. And you know what? Let me say this. The Bills don't even cheat. The quarterbacks for the Browns and the Ravens get cheated by their own teams when they play Josh Allen. Why? Why? Why is it consistently Josh Allen? The only way Josh Allen can defeat the Browns or the Bills is Shedeur finger had to get smashed. And then number 13 had to take the ball and throw it to the cameraman so the game wasn't tied up. And then over here in Baltimore, Derrick Henry got to keep dropping the ball. Or Mark Andrews got to drop the ball. Just like Canales and Brendan Bates dropped the ball. That's the only way Josh Allen beat Shedeur and or Lamar. Why? It said maybe there's more times. There'll probably be more times that things will change in the summer because this is what the Browns do. 12 guys have started since the start of the 2023 season. 12 guys have started. 12 since the 2023 season. And they came out today and said that Shedeur and Deshaun were likely going to compete. They're going to stay with the quarterbacks on the roster, but we hear rumors about Dylan, rumors about Ty Simpson, because the Browns scheduled 2 30 for 30 visits. One with Ty Simpson, who is not going to upstage Arch Manning, and the other with Cornell Tate, the wide receiver. Now, the Browns have never drafted a wide receiver since 2016 in the first round. So to schedule a 30-30 with Cornell Tate, it would make you believe that they're serious in him. But didn't they do the same thing with Shedeur Sanders? Right. So who knows what that means? Who knows what it means? So there you have it from somebody else. The Browns are dysfunctional. They consistently rotate quarterbacks, which is weaponizing instability. Instability is a strategy when it comes to the quarterbacks. But the white quarterbacks seemingly get traded. Huntley got cut, and Shedeur and Deshaun are tracked. Let that sink in for a minute. All right, so let's hop on over to Colorado. Shout out to the Watsons for this. I said I felt like when they put the wrist up, it's the anthem. It says, whatever you see this, we're good. But I felt like they knew something. I also feel like it means, look, we cool. Because they're going to try to pit them against each other. So shout out to the Watsons. I hope they enjoyed their vacation. The stats for Shedeur versus Mendoza shows you just how, in addition to the conversation I had earlier about Jada Daniels, Dan Quinn, his head coach, moving on from the OC to dumb down the game and move away from a dual threat quarterback to a more traditional running game. So they want to go back to the running back now, being the primary ball handler in the NFL. So looking at Shedeur's stats and seeing how he was treated when he was number 2 overall to the Browns and pushed down to 144. Jalen Milroe was supposed to be first round number 40 at the latest, pushed down to the third round, I think, as well. Also pushed down. And they say he buried on the depth chart for about 2 to 3 years. So what they're telling you is they want these black elite quarterbacks to come in the later rounds. They had Dante Moore late first, early second round, which means he was going to be the second round. They had Trinidad in the third round. You could tell they're trying to bury the absolute best players that they know can win in the first year. So look at Mendoza's stats and look at Shedeur's stats. 4,100 yards for Shedeur, 74% completion rate. Fernando Mendoza, 2,980 yards, 71% completion. He a check down king. Somebody gonna say, well, Shedeur had 37 touchdowns. Mendoza has 33. They're gonna say he still got the job done. So not only are we trying to go back to a traditional offense where the quarterback stays in the pocket and the running back becomes the primary ball handler, we're going to a check down key game manager style of quarterback because they don't want the athleticism of the black quarterback. But they'll take it from Josh Allen. They think the fans want to pay $600 for tickets to watch a check down king. Were the Browns fans happy with Dylan being a check down king and a game manager? Hell no. When Shedeur fingernail got ripped off by Blake Whiteheart, Shedeur went to the locker room and Dylan stepped on the field and the crowd broke out into boos. And Joe Batonio was trying to quiet them like he was Jesus. So that should tell you that fans don't want to see that. But do they care? No. So that means they don't care about the fans. They care about the agenda. And it seems like they'll let hell break loose first. They'll blow it all up first before they have 17 black starting quarterbacks in the NFL on 32 teams. Because look at the extent they went through to suppress, be cruel towards, and devalue Shedeur Sanders. And now look at the effort they're going to suppress, devalue Trinidad Shambliss. And he's still in college. So this is what they want to go to when Dan Quinn says we want to go to a more traditional style, run heavy offense. The quarterback will only have 2,900 yards, not 4,100. So when the NFL told Mel Kiper Jr. through an insider, we don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders now, they should have finished the sentence with saying, we want to dumb down the game and go to a check down key like Dillon Gabriel or Fernando Mendoza. This is why Fernando Mendoza is going first overall. So the game will be boring all the way around the league. So when the Manning kid come in and he's better, you'll think he's Jesus. Football Jesus. And Shedeur and the Trinidads and all the other black elite quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, will be moved out of the way. Because they don't want to see 75-yard bombs. They want to see 20-yard. Because that's safer for their preferred quarterbacks. Everybody can't throw accurately, consistently 75-yard bombs. But Shedeur Sanders can, but they don't want that. And the Browns need to be made to explain why. All right, so headed over to Colorado, we have a lightheart, funny moment, which is good because this content can get a little heavy sometimes. But the truth is what it is, right? We're not going to massage the truth. We grown. So over in Colorado today, Yaya is hilarious. Yaya is a Sanders. And there's nothing nobody can do to convince us that he's not. Shiloh has done good works with him. So just check this out. This is Coach Prime at Colorado today.
We may go teams on Friday. Well, you got the brace on the elbow.
For looks.
You just be wanting attention. You just be wanting
Look
attention.
good.
And you too big.
Play good.
You too big for them. That's
I feel like
pressure. I don't think them shoes are built for that kind of pressure.
I was moving like you, but like in your last year or something. Your last
you
year.
say my last year?
Yeah, today was
My
Nick.
last year.
Today was Nick. But then Friday I'm moving like Coach Prime from Atlanta.
Look, dude, you got on the light shoes. You got a little towel on. You got a little arm brace. There ain't nothing wrong with your arm. Yeah, I like your swag, bro.
I got some.
Then you came out there with the thing on because you just want to be the only one out there.
With what?
We may go teams on Friday.
So Coach Prime asked, what's his name? Yaya, why he got a brace on his arm. Did y'all hear him say for swag? Then he showed his Dion's. Coach Prime got him another son. Remember Travis was a son. Now he got him another Shiloh. He got him another Shiloh. So shout out to Yaya and Coach Prime. Coach Prime got him another son. He all swagged up, got his hair like Bucky. He act like Shiloh, and he got the little swagger, the suave. Definitely a Sanders. Definitely a Sanders. All the way from across the other side of the world. So that's just a lighthearted moment between Coach Prime and his new son, Yaya. Was it Yo-Yo? Yaya. I call him Yaya. I don't know. I hope I get it right. I think he's a lineman, right? I think he's a lineman. So he'll be there this year. I think he's working on his citizenship or he got it. It was something big that we announced not too long ago about him. But I just want y'all to know when you see the ducktail in the back, that's Bucky. When you look at the swagger, like he wearing the brace for the swag and he got on the Dion's, that's Coach Prime. But his demeanor and his hilarity, that's Shiloh. That's Shiloh. So shout out to them. All right. So let's get into the interesting part of this conversation. I'm switching my background because I set it up to do that. So I'm switching my background so y'all can see what's so interesting. All right. So we got Juju and we have me back there in animated form looking character. And then we have Coach Brendan Marion, the new quarterback, Isaac Scott, wearing number 10, which is Juju number, which I find very interesting. And we have a wide receiver back there, or somebody else wearing number 8, which is JoJo's number, which I find very interesting. So y'all saw Juju. Y'all saw him, listed up here with number 3. All right, so let me tell you what I'm seeing here. Okay. Juju wasn't on the one while Trinidad was at school. But then when Trinidad came back, they put Juju up here. And he's at the 3. He's a 5-star. Pat Schuber tried to bury him behind Ryan Staub. Ryan Staub left. And Coach Prime replaced Juju with, replaced Pat Schuber with Brendan Marion. So Brendan Marion was asked about Juju. And he says he has $1 million arm for sure. And I was waiting for something to come behind the for sure. Now, I told y'all I like Brendan Marion. I told you I want to be wrong about some things. And I said I hope and pray that Brendan Marion works with Coach Prime and that he wasn't brought in by Colorado after Colorado rejected him previously to be an affront to Coach Prime's program because Pat Schuber tried it and failed. What did Pat Schuber do? One of the things that he did was disrupt the quarterback room with the whole switcheroo, putting Juju at the 3, setting up Caden, and trying to elevate Ryan Staub to the starter. It did work. Ryan Staub moved on to Tennessee. Now, we had Dominique, rest in peace. We lost Dom. And now we have 3 quarterbacks, Juju, and then we got a new quarterback from Utah. Now, when I saw the new quarterback from Utah, I was like, why did we get a new quarterback? Because we had Dom. We had Juju and a third person who I think is good too, right? Now, we knew coming into the season, Juju was the starter. So on X today, there's a narrative formulating about number 10, the one wearing Juju's number, who, like Ryan Staub, is white. And people were talking and they were arguing back and forth, saying Juju's the starter. And they were like, yeah, but the other kid has wheels, meaning he got legs. And I remember Marion's statement, he has a $1 million arm for sure. There's a but. There's a but there. And Marion standing in this photo with this kid, which replaces Staub, but he's probably better than Staub, just like Ty Simpson is better than Dylan. You see where I'm going with this? The people on the internet were buff people, with people pushing for the kid that's wearing Juju's jersey number 10. Now, remember, I explained to you that Juju being number 3 up here is to make him feel like he can jump into the portal and he'll go somewhere else and leave Coach Prime's program. That's exactly what that is. Let's be honest. That's exactly what that is. Now you know why. Because there is a narrative being pushed to do what? Exactly what happened last year with Schumer gone. I'm going to bring a black guy in here to do it. And he going to push off of the quarterback that Coach Prime brought in. See, that's what happened last year. See, last year it looked a little different because it was Schumer, Coach Prime. Coach Prime was out dealing with the health battle, but there was no reason for the switcheroo and the things that took place because when the season started, who was the quarterback? Caden. And even the announcer said Caden was done dirty when they took him out. And they didn't go back to him to wait late, so they let him sit and get cold, something Cleveland did to Shedeur in training camp. They didn't get Caden warmed up. And I kept telling y'all, it wasn't Caden. It was Schumer. Schumer's goal was to get Staub to the QB1 in front of Juju and Salter because Coach Prime brought them in. So it was targeting Coach Prime using those kids. That's what it was. And it was to make Coach Prime look bad and disrupt the program, and they succeeded. That locker room was in shambles. And now, here we are, starting from the outside, moving to the inside this time. Putting Juju up at the 3. Then I bring in a kid from Utah who's white, better than Ryan Staub. He's wearing the jersey number and pictured with the new OC that is no longer Pat Schumer, but who's black. You don't see it yet? Then you got the narrative from the outside on social media with the buff people arguing, saying that the other kid is better than Julian because he can use his legs. And Marion is on the record saying, yeah, Juju has $1 million arm for sure. This is happening in the same day. You see it yet? And then somebody asked, is there going to be a competition at Colorado? I said, oh, here we go. Back down that road to right before the Georgia Tech game, when Coach Prime said who the hell the goddamn quarterback was, here come all the outside influence trying to make Coach Prime push off his selection of QB1. Last time it was Caden. This time it is Juju. And the offensive coordinator is black. And Livingston just left. The goddamn boosters. Do you see it yet? So I told y'all about a week ago that Juju said, right when the other kid came in, before I knew about it, Juju said, God, I hope I'm doing the right thing with something like that. Like he was praying to God, he hoped he made the right decision or something. And then the new kid came and I said, oh, that's what he talking about. And then there's this video that I have. Let me see if I still have it because I could have deleted it. I wasn't going to share it, but I'm going to go ahead on and share it because I'm putting you on game. I'm putting you on game. What happens when 3 people are talking? Or 2 people are talking? And a third person walks up and one of the other people just kind of put their head down. What does that say? What y'all know what that says? Let me see if I can show you this video because I might not have it no more. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Remember the game University, Texas Tech women played Colorado, right? Remember Coach Prime and Brennan Marion were talking. And I think the athletic director must have walked up, but ended up being 3 of them or something like that, right? I noticed something. And see, I've been noticing shit, but I just been keeping it to myself because I was waiting to get to a point because, you know, I said it. I hope. I pray to God I'm wrong about this because I really want this to be the year. But chances are, if they let Livingston go, who was supposed to be the problem, they still got a problem that they put in place. And I hope it ain't who I think it might actually turn out to be. And I ain't saying no names. But see, body language don't lie. When people when people are having conversations and somebody new join a conversation and one of the current recipients steps back with their hands in their pocket and put their head down, somebody knows something that somebody don't know about the person that's walking up and how they feel about one of the recipients in the group. When Brendan Marion took a step back and put his head down with his hands in his pockets, when the athletic director, Rick George, walked up to the conversation, knowing that Brendan Marion had gone to a basketball game and was pictured with the GM, and I told y'all that ain't normal. They've been talking. And Brendan Marion knows exactly what the plan is. And he's been told some things by CU. So his natural body language when Rick George walked up was to just take a step back and put his head down in his pocket. Put his head down and his hands in his pocket. And then this photo comes out with him with the new kid. The new kid that people are saying, the one wearing Juju number that I pointed this out to y'all. I said, this kid wearing Juju number. That's disrespectful. Why the hell would you do that? See, I didn't ask y'all this then. I didn't even tell you I was thinking this then. But why would you do that? Now I can tell you that wasn't right. But see, now we've advanced to conversation and narratives on who the QB1 is and how number 10 standing behind Marion is better than number 10, Juju. And I told y'all Juju's dad was doing a lot of praying online, but I see why now. Juju's post makes sense to me because why you bring this kid in? And Don was still there. It made absolutely no sense. And unfortunately, Dom is gone. And I don't know if we're going to get a fourth quarterback, but we have gone from 3 black quarterbacks to 1 black quarterback and 2 white quarterbacks. And there was a effort to push out, to disrupt Shedeur's career. That's one. When Shedeur left, to push Coach Prime's choice out the way after Shedeur, which was Caden, then it was Juju for Ryan Staub. Now the narrative is starting up again with Juju as the starter, with people on the outside building him up to see himself as number 3 in the country of quarterbacks. When they just tried to trash him for the little bit of time he played last season, and I felt like he was being set up because they weren't blocking for him. Just like they weren't blocking for Caden, but fans noticed they blocked for Staub. Staub was the equivalent of Dylan. So to me, with the narratives I'm now starting to see, with fans bickering back and forth, Juju praying his father, saying some things. Brendan Marion, I'm watching him. I'm looking at him. I believe the people on the outside are trying to, the boosters, not just people. Because random people don't care about this shit. You can best believe that. It's too many other football teams to care about, too many other sports to care about. These are not random people. These are the people that want Coach Prime gone. So what they're doing from the outside this time, because Schumer is gone, is trying to push up a quarterback battle. I wonder whose idea it was for these kids to put on Juju's number. You can't ignore that as much as people want to. Sure, you go right ahead. But given the history at Colorado with Shedeur, Caden, Juju, Ryan Staub, back to Juju, bringing in number 10, bringing in, wearing Juju number. What happens when you go to another school and somebody got on your number? You put on another number. Isn't that what Caden did? Somebody was wearing his number. Dallin Hayden, a 7. So he put on a 3. He put on a 3. That's what you do. And when you come in as the quarterback, out of respect for the existing quarterback, you don't come in and put on their number and take photos. You don't do that. And the only reason you do something like that is if you know what time it is. So I think Brennan Marion know what time it is. I think his comment saying he has $1 million arm for sure is telling you he know what time it is. Because he didn't say shit about nothing else. But that's when all the narrative came out about the other kid wearing the 10 wheels. That's when the narrative came out. Who's the quarterback? That's when the narrative came out. Is there going to be a competition? No, Juju's the quarterback. So we back to week 1, Georgia Tech, and we ain't even got to the spring game. But that's when they were trying to force Coach Prime to change. And he did because of the pressure, I guess. Or because he trusted Schumer, or for some reason. But I don't give a damn about what was going on with Caden. Why the hell y'all make Juju number 3? Because he a 5-star. They and Landon did the shit, and they did the shit over there to Keelan Russell. So they was trying to do it under Coach Prime nose, in his face, at Colorado, to show these black quarterbacks, like they did that kid that went to Texas Tech, that watched Caden get 12 reps. Ain't no point in y'all coming here because he don't have no real power. That's what it was. A black coach can't save you. That was the message. That was the message. That's why that kid went to Texas Tech. So what's the message this year? It's already starting from the outside, not strangers. So who is it on the inside this time? Questions that need answers. All right, so let me see what y'all saying about this, because that was the interesting part. So Brennan Marion reminds me of Cam Ward. New to a situation, not what's going on, and you're being put in a situation intended to make you look like you're on the other side of Coach Prime. Because I wouldn't have let him put this 10 on behind me, because I would have been like, look, we ain't trying to start no shit. Just get another number. So I'm going with he's unaware. Let me tell you why I say he's unaware, right? He knows how Colorado feel about Coach Prime and what the plans are for the future, and I'm sure they've said it to him. Understand that. That ain't no secret. But they going to use him in this quarterback situation to try to devalue Juju so he'll hop in the portal because he's number 3 in the country. And they're going to use the argument about his legs, the other kid's legs. When in the NFL, they don't want Shedeur's legs. They don't want no black quarterback's legs. But like I said, they want Josh Allen's legs. So now they want this kid's legs. And they're going to use that against Juju after he been led to believe he's number 3 in the country so he can bounce. And that's to disrupt Coach Prime and push out the way the quarterbacks he brought in. And understand, it wouldn't have to come from the outside if Marion was the one on the inside. So who it is? Who is it on the inside? Let's see. Let's see. Grand evening, grand evening. Welcome back, Crowley. Welcome back, welcome back. It said, remember, cease, peace, and praying. I know that's right. And praying for a ceasefire. Hey, Marlon, how you doing? Welcome back. I hope all is well with you. I hope all is well with you. Trinidad Shambliss, like we used to say back in the day, he is going to do. He's going to what? He's going to do mother on the field. Yeah, Trinidad is good. We'll definitely be watching Trinidad. They don't have the type of media, like they don't have a Bucky. I've said they need to get a Bucky. They don't have a Bucky, but that program is under attack. That program been under attack. And it was because they had 2 black quarterbacks and they wanted to rip that to shreds, and they did. And they didn't expect them to go on and win, but they did. So Colorado could be successful because Ole Miss was successful through it all. So there is hope for Colorado, but I'm telling you right now, the shit has started. It has started with the quarterbacks. That's how much these black quarterbacks are a threat. Even young Juju, as young as he is. Trinidad going to play in college this year. I hope so. I'm hoping the Mississippi State Court looks at the irreparable damage to the program, to Trinidad, to Lacey, who stayed and turned down money to play at Ole Miss. I'm like, irreparable damage to the NCAA how? On 650-page document. And fans really don't like it. It's disrespectful. So I'm praying the Mississippi State Court do the right thing. It's all fixed. It said, good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you so much. Hit the like button, hit the like button. The list doesn't have much credibility. It might not have credibility, but it shows you what they're working on. That the list, I say they're suggestive. What they show you is what they're working on. That's just it. And you can't discount it because you have to look at the timing of when it came out. 2 days before Trinidad court date and 2 days after his court date. Just like the NCAA going back to court after the combine ended. They put in, and I guess a 600-page document meant they needed time, but it was strategically done based on everything with NFL is solidified. So if he get kicked out of college, he'll be in limbo. So they're trying to hurt him. They're trying to hurt him, the Ole Miss program, and they're trying to hurt the players, as well as Lacey, who could have went to another school for money, but he chose to stay at Ole Miss. That kid should not be hurt. None of those kids should be hurt. The program shouldn't be hurt like that. They trying to destroy that damn program with all they might. That's crazy to me. You think they will be happy because they're in the SEC. That just go to show you. Hey, Claire, welcome back. They said the NCAA have no concrete evidence to support the erroneous claims. I don't know what the hell they got in 600 pages. That's ridiculous. I'm like, is that supposed to be like we look at that and go, oh my God, they must have a serious case? No, nobody feels like that. Hell, probably 650 of them probably blank because you can't put it past them. To just sit it in the courtroom and just let it sit there so people will think that it has a case and there's precedence. No, there's not. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Tamika, how you doing? NCAA need to keep quiet before they files get exposed. I'm like, these people are monsters. That's just what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, they just making room for Archman, and that's exactly what it is. And give the black quarterbacks low ball contracts. Yep. When they had Trinidad at day 3, I was like, are y'all crazy? And then they're going to want to retaliate against them for not wanting to come out of school. Watch what I tell you. Look at what happened to Lenore Sellers. That's why, remember when I said his daddy better take that money? His daddy was like, you don't need $8 million. I'm like, okay, well, I hate you feel that way because you ain't going to have it now. And they going to lowball them the next year when they come out. So that's why they're going to go NIL, because it gives these players choices on where to go. That's why you hear people whining about go on Indeed and find a job. Get the hell out of here. Like they don't have options. Remember, AB shops for the low and sells and trades for the high. Yep. Mm-hmm. Except, what do you think about him sending Dylan to Atlanta with a 5th round pick? I'm like, well, damn. And getting a 4th back for it. It's that question, who has more eyes to see things? Yeah. Shedeur having fans, I'm telling y'all, that's his saving grace. That's his saving grace. Trinidad looked like the state of Mississippi behind him, which is interesting in itself. But hey, we'll take it right now. We'll take it. Shedeur Sanders' college stats were extremely better than Mendoza's, right? But that shows you how they're trying to dumb down the game, suppress the game. It said they cheated our nephew in the Heisman. Yep, and that's what it proves. That's what Trinidad's case proves. Oh, so y'all working to suppress him in college like y'all did Shedeur. That's what they did to Shedeur. See, people, and it's funny how they use the Coach Prime narrative, but it don't stand up no more because they still doing it. They ain't got nothing to do with Coach Prime. See, time tells the truth. Time tells the truth. That's just one thing about it. Time tells the truth. Thank you so much. It said AB is going to get the Browns a playoff-ready roster. He had one last year. I mean, to be honest with you, Coach, he already had a playoff-ready roster. They were already in the playoff hunt. But what it is Stefanski and or somebody else that works over there convinced certain players, seemingly, or they got together and decided amongst themselves to sabotage their own damn quarterback when it was Shedeur. So who decided that at this particular time, the old lineman should cause a foul, or what they call it, a flag on the play, and push back 15 yards. That Jerry Judy should start skipping to my Lou. That Joel Batonio and Jack Conklin should start dirt diving. And that 68 and 72, KT Levinson and Cam Robinson should push the people into Shedeur. Remember, Shedeur went to the ref when he was mic'd up in the last game, I think, and told the ref to watch out for them trying to hurt him in the neck and the head. And the ref was like, well, let me know when it happens. He said, I'm telling you now, because it's going to happen. Remember that? We did. I think we shared that on video too. Yeah, we did. It said Ty Simpson is a one-hit wonder, right? But that's why they want him, though. And they'll probably use that 4th round pick on him to disrespect Shedeur and to try to justify why Ty Simpson should be playing before Shedeur, because that's exactly what they did with Dylan. And they do not believe Ty Simpson will show up Arch Manning. Everything that's being laid is the framework to get Arch Manning. I remember, how long have I been saying this? And now it's starting to materialize. Now you see they're attacking this one and that one and this one and that one. And just like they are sabotaging black quarterbacks in college, now you see why they trying to push out Coach Prime. This is about black people having influence, positions of power, and control in college football and in the NFL. And they working together. Yep. Ty Simpson gonna sit behind the QB1. He gonna sit behind the QB1 next year. He probably gonna sit behind QB1 his entire career. His entire career. It says Shedeur Sanders win 9 games next year. Brown's not drafting Manning. Yeah, okay. Like I said, Coach, they can turn the switch on and turn the switch off. The majority of the games is what? Out of 18 games, 18 divided by 2 is 9, right? So they'll let him play 9 games, but they ain't gonna let him win 9 games. They ain't letting him play 10 games. And if they do, somebody being sued. I'm like, or Arch Manning decided he ain't gonna play pro ball or something. Instead, not send him to his maker, because that's what he did. You talking about Dylan? Dylan. Yeah, he's his maker. That dude was an undrafted free agent, bro. Dan Lanny made him, and they manufactured Dylan, because ain't no way in the hell Dylan is an undrafted free agent, a 3rd round pick sitting on the Heisman stage. Get the hell out of here. And they ain't worried about Dante because they got Dan Lanning in their pocket. That's why. So, and what did I say about the quarterback from Nebraska coming to visit Oregon before Dante decide what he wants to do? They were trying to push Dante out gently, because they knew if they pushed too hard, he would go to another college for money, because he was in demand. So Oregon ponied up $7 million to say, oh, we love you, we want to keep you. But they signed the kid from Nebraska, the one that thinks he's Pat Mahomes, Dylan Raiola. So you got Dylan Raiola over there, and you're going to let him sit on ice behind Dante Moore, and you want Dante Moore to come out number 1. Bullshit. Let's see what happened with that. I feel a setup coming on. It said that's sending him to the Lord. Okay. His maker in his career. Y'all so funny. Y'all so funny. That's hilarious. Hilarious. It said Shedeur gonna be QB1. They just not saying anything. Coach, stop believing in these people. Stop believing in these people. It said, I think it's gonna be a fair competition, because it's a new coach and a new, Lord have mercy. You gotta name a QB1. Browns don't have their franchise QB yet. We love you, Coach. We just gonna let you make it, because I don't know what to tell you. Y'all can try with Coach, but it ain't gonna work. Coach is one of their family relatives that's MAGA, maybe. Now, I don't know. That could cause divorces and broke up families. I ain't gonna go that far. I love you too much, Coach, to call you MAGA. But if you are, okay, I get it. We love you, Coach. We do. It said, this is the fly show, hands down to the ground. Facts, straight facts. It said, I don't trust anything, nothing they say until it happens. I know that's right. Right now, I'm like Nisa girl. You can't trust these folks. I don't care how many pictures they posted Shedeur and Monken. Thank you. Thank you. When I did that poll and 100% of people said they thought it was a new day, I was like, I was like, no. But what did the guy Zach say? Zach said, this is the Browns. This is what they do. They are dysfunctional. He didn't say that word, but he laid it out for you. 12 quarterbacks in how many seasons? Other teams don't function that way. So somebody that was starting to hang out with us is new. I forgot their name, like Coco or somebody in the comments. They were asking, would it work if Shedeur went to another team? I said yes and no. The toxicity probably wouldn't be as high as it is on a different franchise because no other franchise is that toxic from the outside, from what I can see. And even the Baltimore Ravens derailed Lamar, but quietly, right? They not out here blowing bells and whistles. Hey, look what we doing at Shedeur. You know, that's what the Browns did. So if he went to another team, it would be to get away from the cruelty, the toxicity. The quiet sabotage will still be there regardless of where he went. As you can now start to see with these other quarterbacks, even the ones coming out of college, there's an agenda. It's called 17 to 32, making sure that black starting quarterbacks don't become the majority by hook or crook. It don't matter. Hook or crook, excessive sacks, derailing, devaluing, injury, crushing fingers, it don't matter. They don't want them to go on the record as the starter. So playing the majority of the games is not something that they gonna let happen. And with Lamar, he's the starter, but you see they never let him get to the Super Bowl because they want to control who the quarterbacks, what they look like in the Super Bowl. Remember when they had in 23, it was about to be 4 black quarterbacks for the first time ever in the AFC NFC championship. Remember that? And what did they do? They stopped it. And you know how they stopped it. Mark Andrews dropping the ball just magically disrupted history in the draft, pushing Shedeur down. Magically disrupted history of 17 to 32. It's not magic. It's coordinated. It's planned. And it's because they're black. I don't think people understand how disgusting it is that all of this malfeasance is happening to harm these players just to move them out the way, whether it's their mental or their physical, just because they're black. That's evil. That's scalping black people and putting their hair in their cushions and feeding black babies to alligators level of evil. Constantly plotting and devaluing black people and treating them like they're not human. And to me, the browner skin they are, the worse their injuries. Probably got to study that part a little more, but from what I can see, I agree, Nisi. I totally agree. Ryan said Browns are going to play Sanders this year and go 3-14. They are going to get QB1 in 2027 draft, just like DeShone Kizer. You remember DeShone Kizer? DeShone Kizer was what, a second round pick? He was supposed to be a bridge QB. That's the QB they got after they fired Sashi Brown, who wanted to get who? Lamar. Do you see how insistent they were that Lamar was not a starting quarterback? Do you see the efforts and lengths that they went through to take him out of the way, and he still got in? And they've been crushing ever since, trying to move him out the way. The kid, Taylor Green, they asked him to work out as a wide receiver. I'm not watching the draft. We need to see where he lands. Undrafted free agent. He runs a 4.35. Why the Browns don't talk about getting him? I mean, they probably could with that 4th round pick, but he will be there next year. It would be hard to trade him, so they're not going to get him because they know who they're getting in 2027. It might surprise people. They might end up and take a bundle of their picks from this year and get the number 1 pick next year without having to tank. Vegas said the Browns going to only win 6 games, and they don't even know who the quarterback going to be. Well, how you think? You know, what's my thing when I say, when people start predicting like they have crystal balls? How you know that? How the hell do you know that? You don't even know who the quarterback going to be. And they were showing Shedeur's picture. So why would Shedeur only win 6 games when he could put up 393 yards? So is Vegas suggesting that Shedeur will be sabotaged again, but quietly this time? We shall see. We shall see. Fans are excited about seeing Shedeur play, right? But they don't want to see him abused anymore, period. Yeah, I dropped y'all from game today. It said things are going to be even more apparent this year. I totally agree, Amber. It said the fans and media are not going to let their high parts go. Yeah, they want it to be over with, but that's not happening. The Browns are a clown show and dysfunctional. Definitely, Tamika. To me, that's all the guy Zach is saying is that they're dysfunctional. You know, by talking about the number of black quarterbacks that they have had, that's basically saying the number of quarterbacks, excuse me, that they have had. That's basically calling them dysfunctional. When he says, um, he said maybe in April 25th after draft. He said maybe 3 more times in the summer. See how he's showing how they switch up so much and how random they appear. It said that's because that's what the Browns do. It said 12 guys have started since the start of the 2023 season. That's just that's 2 years ago, because we haven't even gotten to the start of the season. For 2.5 years, over a 2.5 year period, which is 2 seasons, the 23 season, the 24 season, well, now 3, the 25 season, that's 3 seasons. They have had 12 starting quarterbacks. That's not even the total number of quarterbacks. That's the number of starting quarterbacks. So they're not about to change. They're not about to change. If they were, they would have just committed to Shedeur. If they wanted to win, they would have fired Stefanski and let Shedeur win the rest of the season. They didn't want to win. They didn't want to win with Shedeur, and they don't want to commit to Shedeur. And this has happened before Shedeur. Do you see what they did to not commit to Deshaun, who they paid $230 million? Sacked excessively 33 times in 7 games, and he got injured again. And the insurance company paid his salary. There's no incentive for Shedeur's salary to be covered by an insurance company because he only making $1 million. That's good for Shedeur, though. You know why? Because if something happens behind the scenes where the NFL feels like they exposed, they can move Shedeur easily to Dallas because Joe Milton has the same contract and he the backup behind that. Then they'll be stacking Shedeur behind a different black quarterback like they wanted to do in the draft when they wanted to send him where? To Philly and to Baltimore. So why not go to Dallas over there behind Dak? Likes and clicks. He's home. Loads of money. And that's all they care about. The likes and clicks part. I've always said it can happen. I've also said, I think Shedeur gonna get traded and the Browns don't even know. Did we know that the Browns were gonna come out and make this pivot announcement? Like, where did that come from all of a sudden? Why all of a sudden you want to stick with who you got? Ty Simpson is their best bet. They say he's the number 2 quarterback in the draft. I'm like, oh, Lord, that's the best you got? They know he can't compete with Shedeur. That's why they said, let's just stick with who we got. They can just split up the roster. Now, if Monkey is smart, he would have went and said, look, just let Deshaun play 9 games and Shedeur play 9 games, and none of them are the starter. But we could at least win, and you'll still get none of them as a starter, and you could get your starter next year. Am I wrong? That's a strategy that you don't have to destroy neither one of their careers. And they both are auditioning and can move on, and you can get the big kid. Nobody's fighting to stay in Cleveland. Nobody's fighting to be the franchise quarterback in Cleveland. Nobody. Deshaun can get rid of his house, and Shedeur can get rid of his house. If Monkey was a leader, that's what he would say, and maybe that's what he said. And he said, look, I told y'all I ain't trying to go on the record to ruin this kid. I'm not trying to be no Stefanski. I told y'all I take a special kind of fool to do what Stefanski did. Nobody wants to be that. We can just split it down the middle and just let all the back and let everybody play. Like you been rotating people. Just keep rotating them and move them out. But see, they greedy. No, we don't want Deshaun to finish his career like he's good because there's somebody he could maybe get another contract. They don't want that. They want him to go away. They wanted Russell Wilson to go away. They want him to go away. They want Kyler Murray to go away. And that's who probably going to show up because now he has been informed that he's being released. He should be going to Minnesota. Malik Willis should be going to Minnesota. But the Browns say, no, we just going to keep who we have. Hopefully Monken told them, guys, we ain't got to burn it all down. Just split the roster, split the games in half. It is, think about it. It is a rebuild year. That's what they're doing. They rebuilding. They got Monken is new, a new head coach, a new OC, a new special teams coordinator, a new defensive coordinator. They are rebuilding. That's probably why they keep talking about Myles Garrett, because they're going to try to get rid of him. It wouldn't surprise me, because they own Myles Garrett for a reason. And I don't know what it is, but it could be to push him out, split him and Shedeur up. Nobody, because Myles Garrett was the voice. Remember, he was the voice kind of speaking up, and they kind of got to him. So maybe they putting him out there on blast so he'll know, don't come in here taking up for Shedeur. It's happening for a reason. But maybe Monken said, look, guys, just split up the roster between all the quarterbacks, and it's a rebuild year, so we could get away with it. We don't have to destroy Shedeur. We don't have to destroy Deshaun. Y'all don't want Deshaun to get another contract. Well, just let him play 1 or 2 games, and it's not enough to justify it, and send him on his way. And then since you're going to get the Manning kid, you just send Shedeur somewhere else. And they're going to go, no, we don't want to send Shedeur nowhere else. We want to humiliate him and put him behind the Manning kid. See, that's what's wrong with them. They greedy. You want it for likes and clicks. You want to exploit him. You want to humiliate him. You want too goddamn much. And it's all evil. That's what's wrong with them. That's exactly what's wrong with them. It's not enough to send Shedeur to another team. I have to destroy him. I have to humiliate him. I have to exploit him. That's what they did at the draft in the combine. I got to defame him. I got to exploit him for likes and clicks. And I got to humiliate him at the draft. Then I'll have to devalue him and pick his pockets for $40 million. You didn't have to do none of that. That was pure evil. And the Browns want to be evil too. Or again, let's go again. That's the problem we have. So God gonna have to find a way to wrestle either this team away from the owner or Shedeur away from this team, because they are trying to destroy him. And if Monken doesn't have enough pull to say, look, just let him play 9 games and ship him out, and we'll get the Manning kid and Ty Simpson, and you'll have your 2 white quarterbacks and all the black quarterbacks will be gone. If they can't see to reason, because no, we have to embarrass him, humiliate him, defame him, they ain't gonna want to let him go, because he's likes and clicks. He's jersey sales. He's box office. They're greedy and evil at the same time. And that's when God gonna be like, all right, I gave you an opportunity. I'm gonna have to take him out of here. And that's what I mean when I say I think Shedeur gonna get traded. The Browns don't know. Because they're clearly playing with somebody that God favors, clearly. I mean, that's not even up for debate. Somebody clearly God is protecting. That's not up for debate. So how long you think this is going to happen? It only rained for 40 days and 40 nights. That's why you hear me say that. I think Shedeur going to get traded, and the Browns don't know. Another thing that's happening, they keep exposing themselves, and people keep talking about it. People keep talking about it. The word dysfunctional is coming up more and more. And now we know what to look for and what to call out, and are. If they didn't like people talking last year, you wait till this year. And they crazy as hell if they think we're going to be quiet while Shedeur sit behind Arch Manning. But that's what they think. That's exactly what they think. These people cannot be trusted. The ownership needs an enemy. I absolutely agree. Yeah, it's sad. They greedy. They just greedy. They greedy. You can't say, I don't want quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders now. And Mel Kiper Jr. clearly realized they meant race when he was on the broadcast because he flipped his lid. I was like, I don't know how you didn't know that, because when you said it, I knew what they meant. Well, just because I knew the timing. I think he did too, but he just wasn't thinking like that. People were still thinking talent. What did Stephen A. Smith say? Well, the damn draft ain't about talent no more. It's not. And it's intentionally being degraded, and the game is being dumbed down So when they get the Manning kid, he looked like football Jesus. That's going to piss fans off when they figure it out. And then with Peyton Manning in the Epstein files, you don't hear him or see him no more. Just like Geno Smith. Interesting. Interesting. And that's a whole nother conversation right there. They said no incentive. Where is Dylan? Right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Where is Dylan? Remember, God plays and man plays and God laughs. That's it. It said the New York Jets will get Ty Simpson plus Ty Simpson is an average quarterback. Yeah, they know he average. They want him. They want somebody that's not going to show up the Manning kid. And Ty Simpson fits that because he's average. He's not good. And he'll probably go along with the program because he should be drafted lower like Dylan. He's just a better Dylan. He's a better Dylan, and the kid from Utah and Colorado is a better Ryan Sapp. It's the same thing. And they all white. It's the same thing. Nothing's changed. Just the offensive coordinators. Boy, Colorado. It says Shedeur will be the starter and the Browns will be in the playoffs. I sure hope so. The Browns could have been at the playoffs this year. Coach loves to play devil's advocate, the thorn in the road. Oh, is that what he's doing? Is that what he's doing? It said, let's face it, the NFL and NBA has fallen off. You're actually right about that. And that's a good segue to my last topic. All right. So we were live for Unrivaled Basketball last night. Shout out to y'all that hung out with me. Vermont State all the way to the end. When I tell y'all that Unrivaled Basketball Championship game was the best basketball game this year, regardless of what league was playing basketball, I missed them already. I wish I had tapped in early with them. And you know how I got to watch the game? Well, I got the app, but somebody in our comments asked me, was I going to go live when I posted that Angel Reese was playing Paige Buckers? But at the time, I didn't know how to watch them, and I had other stuff going on. So I remembered that they were playing. I looked it up after I posted that Angel Reese team lost and Paige Buckers team won. And I said, oh, the playoffs is next. So I took the time to how to watch Unrivaled Basketball, and it was kind of a headache. So I ended up getting the HBO Max app, downloaded it, setting it up. I was like, shit, it's today. So I was just, made some content, like a thumbnail and everything for the game. And I'm glad I did. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. The format for Unrivaled, it was a vision. Having their own league, it was started by two current WNBA players, right? Nafessa Collier and Brianna Stewart. Brianna Stewart was on the winning team from last night, and she was the MVP. She's a baller. I kept calling them snipers because these women can shoot. These women make basketball so much fun. They playing ball. It's not no soft touch. They just putting up their hands. They posting up. The one-on-one guarding is really good. The 3-on-3 was a great format. And the third quarter is 3 7-minute quarters. And that sounds short, but it seemed like it take longer because, timeouts and fouls and they be fouling each other. There be people on the floor and they be hustling and they can shoot, right? And so you're looking at elite high-level play for 3 quarters at 7 minutes each. But the kicker is when you get to the fourth quarter, instead of the regular 7 quarters, it doesn't have a timer on it. It's the first one to a certain score that's determined by adding 11 points, like, 21, but 11 points to whoever has the leading score. So, like last night, the Miss was up, like, maybe by 68. They might have added, but they were up 68 points, and they may have added 11 to it. So, if the score was like 68 to 53, they added 11 points to the 68, and that's how they targeted. We're going to play to whatever the score is. And the first one to the score won. When it got down to 1 point and 2 points, and the Miss could win, oh, Lord, that was crazy. And then Enrique Ogbonwale missed 3 layups, and I was yelling and screaming. I was like, why do you keep missing these layups? I was like, the game could have been over. And I was like, what's going on with her? Because she a shooter. She a sniper. But it was just really, really good. And it ended because the player on the Phantom, who was the number 1 seed, actually tried to foul Brianna Stewart, and she thought the call was going to go against Brianna, but the ref said it was against the girl that I think caused the foul, Tip Hayes. And she was upset. She was sitting on the bench. She was fussing, looked like she was going to cry, and they lost. and they gave Brianna a big chain because they got a trophy, and then I guess the player get like the Cuban link with the big, medallion with her name, Stewie or something like that on it. And then they all took the picture. But everybody, the purse was the team that won got 600,000. So every player, so it's 6 people on the roster, every player gets $100,000. So my favorite player, shout out to the champions. I learned a bunch of I knew most of these women. So like Elena Smith, I knew it. I kept saying it. She a sniper. I said, I think she played for the Chicago Sky. Turns out she played for the Chicago Sky. She's a sniper, but she played for the Lynx now. Then they have Brianna Stewart, who's co-founder, but Veronica Beard. Oh my goodness. And when you know how they come up and they do they used to do the fashion carpet, they call it the black carpet with Sephora. Their referee wears Sephora uniforms, like referee uniforms with Sephora on it. They have the Sephora black carpet when they come in pregame, dressed all up and everything. And they heavily sponsored the arena, the carpet, and the referees with all Sephora. So Sephora all over the place, just beauty, right? So Veronica Beard, I was like, is that the same girl that was on the black carpet? Because she was all dolled up in her black leather dress with the heels on and everything. And then in the basketball game, she had a head up like in a messy bun, and she was out here balling. I was like, damn, she is good. So I found out she plays for somebody. I forgot already who she played for. And she gonna be fun to watch. And then you have Enrique, who is a shooter, right? Who won the WNBA MVP not last year, but the year before. And then my favorite player, right down here in front of the seat, Alicia Gray, she plays for the Dream. So I watch her play for them. And then you have this chick right here. She didn't play last night. You Lieru. So I learned 2 new players, Veronica and you, and the rest of all of these players, they some dogs. Elena, Brianna, Enrique, and Alicia. So you're watching with a 3-on-3 format where all of the players can shoot, can ball, can defend, but it's some dogs. They are some dogs. So if y'all watched last night, y'all stayed. Thank y'all so much. Congratulations to the Miss. I can't wait to see y'all next year. I hope I can get to Miami. I think this is where I start to travel to the different sporting events. And shout out to Alicia Gray from the Atlanta Dream for balling out. Alicia Gray has won at least 200,000 or 300,000 in bonus money. For Unrivaled is 100,000. Then she won the skills challenge and the 3-point contest, which was 55,000 each. That's another 100,000. No, she's won 200,000 in addition to her salary between the WNBA and Unrivaled. That is crazy. That's crazy. So shout out to Unrivaled. Their players get equity. The first year players got equity and everything. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. I'm going to get ready to get out of here. 128 of us. Hit the like button. I appreciate y'all hanging out. I hope y'all found this informative. So we had some shocking news that the Browns had to pivot. We had some interesting news with this whole quarterback narrative at Colorado trying to brew up a little bit from the outside. Let's see what happens. And we had some breaking news with Trinidad Shambliss because seemingly he's being targeted by the NCAA so they can kick him out of school because he's the story for this year, like Shedeur was the story last year. And the NCAA and the NFL are exposing themselves between Trinidad and Shedeur and the other Black quarterbacks. So I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. And y'all want y'all to have a good night. Don't forget to say your prayers and pray for a ceasefire. Pray for a ceasefire for the gas go up any higher. All right. And any more people get hurt. All right. I'm going to see y'all later. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the episode tonight. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hype me up. Hype me up.